when bureau chiefs will apprise me of their relocation. Again, it's just a courtesy. They certainly don't have to do it, but I'm always interested and curious when they do. Alex and Sarah are two of our longtime bureau chiefs in the Lansing, Michigan area. I know it well. And they've moved to Gardiner, Maine, where they say they plan to continue their faithful service. P.S. I'm also a veterinarian, and I wanted to clarify about the vegetarian dogs. While cats are what we call obligate carnivores, dogs are indeed omnivores, and some do fine on a vegetarian diet. I put dogs with suspected food allergies on vegetarian-formulated foods from time to time.
Okay.
No word as to whether or not he could have saved that pig that they found in the landfill downtown near the site of the new Sherwin-Williams HQ that they're building. So Alex and Sarah now in Gardiner, Maine, wherever that is. I didn't look. Can you find it on the map, Bill? Can you find Gardiner, Maine?
First off, see what I can do.
Maine. You know where Maine is.
Maine's at the top.
Gardiner.
M-E for short. Gardiner, Maine. It's in Kennebec County.
I don't have the counties on
It's up near Pittston. It's up,
Say more things.
it's going to be, it's not far from the coast. It's basically straight up 295 from Boston. So you find Augusta,
Okay,
and it's going to be there. It's just south of that. Might not even be on that map.
Not on the map.
Okay, Gardiner, Maine is just south of Augusta.
Yeah.
So thanks, guys.
I tried to find it.
And I appreciate that.
I do know where Maine is. I always forget that Augusta is the capital of Maine.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's weird.
Deborah listens in Venice, Florida. Isabel is in the St. Joe Benton Harbor area there in Michigan. And by the way, you can, as that promo before we came back told you, there's a new feature. If you listen to the show live on the app, if you're listening to WMMS on the iHeartRadio app, there's a new feature on there called Talkback, where you can leave us quick messages on there.
I'm going to give this a test. To build on Mary's question about movie trailers, Alan, when you went to the movies, if a train was coming towards the screen, did you freak out and run out of the theater?
You son of a bitch. When I was sitting there at the picture show,
The Nickelodeon.
when I was watching, what are those things called? The old-timey, they spin and you shine a light through them and they have like little cards.
Oh, I know
that
what you're
make
talking about.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those are called something. They have a cool name.
Pictograph?
No, it's like a, God, it's got like a cool sounding name, but I can't remember what it is. No, if there was a train coming on the screen, and again, I can't recall a movie where there's a train coming on the screen.
Usually the
Parts
Buster
of-
Keaton joints.
I don't go that far back.
I don't know.
I mean, movies had dialogue and sound when I was alive.
Are you?
What about color?
Oh my God!
They did have color. Yep.
Listen to that horn!
That's a guy that was sitting next to me at the movies. And he was considerably more freaked out than I was.
The big thing when I was a kid was the roller coaster ride at the beginning of Regal Cinema.
Yep.
yeah.
Movies. We would all like put our hands up and act like we were on the roller coaster and like ducking and stuff. That was like, when you're a little kid,
yeah.
you're like, this is the most exciting part of this movie.
Sure.
This is a little roller coaster.
Yeah.
You go through like the popcorn tunnel and the Coke fountain, and yeah, it's so fun.
But then it's exploding in your face. You're getting bombarded with popcorn kernels, huge aggro kernels. Zoetrope, thank you. That's what I was thinking of. Somebody got that through to me. Somebody, Francis Ford Coppola or some big name has got a production company called Zoetrope. Remember Viewmaster? Yeah, of course, Viewmaster. Yeah, I remember that.
Was that the little clicky thing you put on they look like binoculars?
Yeah, and
And
you'd
you
have the
click
cards
it.
with them,
Yeah.
and it would, yeah. They didn't. There was no motion to them, but I mean, you could. They were kind of 3D-ish, and kind of remedial special effects, but they were fun. Alan, for the first time ever, Cody has finally made some sense. Hey, what do you think about that?
What in what way? No clarification.
For the first time ever. Well, I'm pausing for dramatic effect.
Okay, I'll stop talking.
There's a lot of racism going on that comes from other than white people. Wait, what? What was Poundcake talking about? How many more advantages do we need to give people in a free country?
Huh?
Yeah, Cody.
I don't know.
I
Don't
like
know
the
what
first
this
part
person means.
where he said I made sense.
Well, Poundcake made sense. This guy didn't make sense.
I guess so.
Is he referring to my podcast? Is he referring to something I said on the show? I
don't know what that.
I want to
person
co-sign
means.
because he's giving me a compliment. So
Right.
I think this is someone that's trying to say, like, see, black people could be racist too. I think that's what
Which
he's
no
trying
one
to
has
go
ever
for.
denied, by the way.
Right,
The
right,
people love to throw out that straw man argument that no one has ever fought for.
being racist is so much fun.
See, he's going to get going on this.
No, that's all.
It's fun.
George Bush doesn't care about black people.
Like that guy that was on the Red Sox minor league team. Mm-hmm. He's like, I'm a racist. I don't like gay people. I don't like anybody darker than me.
Because you got some,
What do you want from me?
You got some real friends next to you. You know that not only are they like-minded, but they got your back. They don't like how the world, piles on and doesn't reveal their true selves.
Wait, you're talking about like if that guy has other friends around him that all know that
They have to be racist. Like I don't know anybody. Like I'm sure I probably have some friends that are racist, but they don't vocalize it to me because
White friends, you mean?
or black friends. Like,
Okay.
Anybody who has hate in their heart who is vocalizing that to me, like I don't want to be someone's friend because they are black and I don't like black people, that would bother me, and therefore I'm a race enabler.
But they would also never tell you that because by definition they wouldn't be friends with you.
But that's not true because hate.
Well, but as you just described it, that would be true.
But
I don't like black people and don't want to. They wouldn't be hanging out with you.
that's the thing about being biracial. I've gotten it from both sides, and they act as if when they talk about one side, I'm not even there or I don't exist. I've gotten from the black people, like, why are you hanging out with all those whiteys? They be talking about us behind our backs, and you let them do it. I'm like,
By the way, rather than being angry, and you've described this before, and I take your point, rather than being angry, you think that you might be able to make yourself useful as a kind of a double agent.
well,
rather than them being
it doesn't
angry,
work.
But rather than them being angry at you, you think that they would want you to maybe infiltrate the other group of people that they're not so fond of.
It
Lindsay
doesn't-
Lohan and Mean Girls.
That you have kind of
doesn't work.
you have a reach on both sides. What doesn't work?
The scenario in which you're describing, I have tried. Like I tried to live up to my name and be the helpful little brown, but no, it doesn't work. Black people think that I'm a sellout because I have a lot of white friends. White people don't look at me as a black guy because I have so many white friends, and they talk about me. They're like, listen, like I'm not racist or anything like that. Like I like black people, but why do they draw so much attention to themselves? Like why do they always scream at
What do
the
they mean by that?
I'm gonna tell you, like
He's pausing for effect.
Can you also answer the question?
any modern day inconvenience, they always have to make a scene. Like they have to jump behind the counter at McDonald's, and they
think that's just black people?
this is what I'm
I've
saying.
seen a lot of
That's Americans.
I have seen a lot of Karen videos
Yeah.
of people screaming and
Like why do they have to twerk after everything? Like they make an argument
Okay.
and then they twerk and then they go away. Like I don't understand.
Oh, so they're just making things up, is what you're saying.
Well, they're
well,
just
sure, that's
they're-
how
they're
racism
just
works.
Saying that if any black person acts a certain way, that's how all black people act.
And racism is disguised. I mean, just like abuse. Abuse can come in emotional abuse, sexual abuse. Like there's various forms in which you can abuse if you want to abuse. Same as racism.
Just based on visual components alone, I'm surprised that somebody would look at you and feel comfortable talking about black people. I mean, you're clearly a biracial person.
Not clearly. They think I'm mixed. They think I'm like Latino or something. But regardless.
But that's still a person of color, to use that nomenclature.
Sure.
I mean, that's still.
But they look at me as a coon. Like that. I don't know how I don't know how else to explain it.
Yeah.
They think that I'm okay with that because you're a lighter complexion, so I'm sure you get racism. I'm sure they don't like you because you're not like them. That's what the white people say. They're like, you're not like them. I can tell.
Well, these sound like fun conversations you're having with all your friends.
Not all of these people are my friends. This is just what I've encountered from the other races. The people that I have now, they already know I'm black. They don't need to repeat it. I repeat it more than they do because I think it's funny that the other interactions I've had in college where these kids, I don't know where these students went, where there were no black. Ohio is a very diverse state, but these kids had no black people around
Parts
them.
of it are, but I mean, you can go to a lot of places.
But we went to Akron. Like,
Anywhere
we went to
outside of a
Akron.
city.
But that was probably their first time being around a lot of diversity.
And then they
Like,
vocalize it to me.
Like when I went to, I did 1 year at Highland High School, and there was, I think, one black kid in the entire school. And that's a high school, 4 years, and there's
Guy
one,
or girl?
I was a guy, and that was it. Like there was maybe one. I don't even remember, but there was not a lot of minorities or there was not any diversity. Now when I was at Medina, there was a little bit, but still not a lot.
But that just makes me, I don't know, it makes me feel some type of way because they look at me, they're like, oh, I can tell you're not like the rest of them. I'm like, why? Because I look like I'm not the rest of them? Like, no, you're just
By the rest of them, they mean black people?
dark-skinned people.
I see.
The lighter you are, the safer you look to them.
But even within the black community, you have a white dad, black mom. Even within the black mom, black dad community, don't darker people mistrust lighter skinned people?
Yes, it's called the Coon Effect. It is.
That's what it's called?
Yes, it's called
Wow.
the Uncle Ruckus. Like, there's a lot of different names for it. It is.
Uncle Ruckus.
I played drums for Uncle Ruckus in high school. I had no idea that's what it was. Oh, now I feel terrible.
It's just like Candace Owens. She's not light skinned, but they call her Uncle Tom. There's the Uncle Ruckus from Boondocks, Coonery. Like, black people have a severe mistrust with.
I thought coonery was like blackface performances,
No,
like
no.
Bamboozled and things like
A
that.
coon is a black person befriending white people to. It's like a coon dog in slavery times. I would be considered a house slave, and I like my position because I earned it. Because I'm lighter skinned.
Boy, they're really putting a lot on you.
My life, yes.
These people that you kind of know.
It's like my life is easier because I'm lighter skinned. So the black people don't like me because I don't have it as hard as them. So I don't understand their discrimination. And the white people,
Yeah, but do they
look at me
understand?
as white, but not quite.
But also, do they understand at all that there, for a lot of people in this country, if you are any darker than toothpaste, they don't like you?
No, but they still think you're better off.
I see. Somehow
So-
you have it easier.
Yes. And I sometimes do. I really do think that it's like my light privilege. Like, whatever I'm dealing with, it pales in comparison to what a darker skinned person would have to deal with. So I don't complain. I have dealt with discrimination, but I'm like, wow, if I'm getting this, I can only imagine what someone who doesn't have like my complexion would get. So I shut my mouth and I take it from black people because coming from a black mom, I heard stories of her growing up, in her part of town, and it wasn't fun. Getting followed, people think that you're stealing, and all types of stuff. My mom's family is all black, so I've heard all the stories, and they tell me because they know I'm not a coon.
How did she start breaking out into white folks?
What do you mean?
Well, you said your mom's whole family is black, which means they all married black people, and your mom was.
Well, no one's married. That's for starters.
Well,
Everyone
no, but
had
you,
kids.
you know
but
what I mean, though. I mean, you don't have to be married to have kids. I mean,
My mom, I don't know. My mom was. It just happened. My aunt married a white man too. My aunt married a white man. My mom married a black man. But my mom and my dad were never married.
they started the revolution.
Yeah, no, I don't know. That's just how it was. And my mom, probably at the time, didn't have the best self-esteem, and she saw a white man, and he befriended her.
Wow.
He saw that ass, and he was like, "All right, I don't see that. I don't see these white girls eating their cauliflower like that."
Not. I mean, these days, and probably not then, but.
Yeah,
Wow.
I don't know.
Great ass!
But race has always been a sensitive topic for me because I can't be too happy about it and I can't be too sad about it because they're like, you don't get it. And no, I have to talk to a biracial person about it because they'll understand. A white person is not going to get it and a black person is not going to get it.
Right.
Black is not my race and white is not my race.
Right.
Biracial is my race.
Huh.
So if I marry within my race, I need to marry somebody like Drake.
So wouldn't you just want to take the path of least resistance and just start hanging out with all biracial people?
I actually kind of did in middle school, but there was only a handful of us. Like a lot of us were biracial, but I also had the gay component. So they also didn't want to hang out with me because they're like,
He had the hat trick.
they're like, well, I'm
Yeah,
biracial.
really.
I'm biracial, but I'm also not gay, so I also don't want to sit with you. So,
Jesus. God, prejudice is so creative, isn't it? It's like, I just thought of another reason that I'm not going to.
well, that's why
Wow,
I didn't.
it's weird.
I didn't experience discrimination growing up because everyone kind of looked like us. Everyone had a little something in them. They weren't necessarily black or white, but they'd be black and Puerto Rican or white and Asian. So everyone was kind of like a mutt. So race wasn't a factor in Oberlin. Oberlin was very diverse. But I had this whole gay thing hanging over my head. So I was more worried about that than anything. And then when I got to college, no one cared that I was gay. Everyone cared that I was biracial.
Really?
Yeah, so I had like an identity crisis very early on. Wow. Kind of.
No wonder he's so anxious.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there's a lot going on there.
But that guy said you're smart, and that's what matters. The caller said, what do you say? Cody said something smart for
The
once?
texter?
Made sense
Well,
or whatever?
yeah, but what made sense to this person, what they were trying to say was, black people suck too. They can, it's like no one's ever said that somebody can't be racist. Any person can be that way. That's right. Yeah. Alan, I guarantee more black people are jumping over counters, shooting at malls, robbing gas stations, and you know it. Obviously, you and Bill would never agree because you want to keep your job. You might have noticed my job isn't predicated on things like that, but
Go ahead.
I don't know what I don't know what your point is.
Say it then.
This is your vaccine. You have to say it.
Right.
You go to your job.
See, I'm smart. The reason I have a job is because I'm smart enough to know that you can't extrapolate a couple of videos that you see into an entire population of people.
Right.
That's why I'm not dumb.
It's hard to explain that to some of my family members. Like my one member of my family hasn't had a ton of interaction with black people, and the ones that he has had have not gone over well. So, like, I was even talking with his wife about it, and she's like, dude, I don't know what to tell him. Every interaction he has with someone who's black ends up being a not a great interaction, so now he thinks all black people are like this.
Does
and I'm like,
he
That's
take any
probably-
responsibility for his part in that, perhaps?
Does he start knives out with people? When
No. She's talking about like hiring people to work for him and things like that. And I'm like, okay, but I'm sure he has white people that don't show up. And she's like, it's just one of those things where if you have 5 bad interactions out of 5 people, that's what you're going to think.
I would just be pissed if somebody wasn't showing up for work.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't
for
care
sure.
what they look like. Hey, you were supposed to be on today, and now Frank has to cover your shift.
He's one of those who's like, stereotypes are there for a reason. Because he's also like, every Mexican guy I hire shows up on time. You tell me what's racist.
Well,
I'm
no,
just
listen.
Like, I don't know what to tell you, man.
Cultural stereotypes do not come out of thin air.
Right.
But the things that people project on other people, that's something that they have made up in their own head.
Right.
I got a break. I'll have those John Mulaney tickets for you a little bit later on, too. He's doing an arena tour, so he'll get to Cleveland in September.